I try not to be cold. It's next to impossible. I'm 63 years old. My life never really got started because of, well, for example, the position that the political stump is putting me in regarding my performance value as an individual concerned about Gaza, protesting in Seattle on weekends occasionally. It's destructive, and it has been destructive in my entire life. The Pittsburgh showcase of vagabond artists and political extremists in the arts rebellion situation there postponed doing anything responsible about these forces that are wrecking our society. And Seattle helped them. Students assume that there just must be something wrong with me because of how effective and successful administration has been in destroying my prospects and keeping me a prisoner of their torture chambers and lies. So I'm very lonely and old now. They even poisoned me in the mouth. It's ironic, intentionally so, that one of them used to call me Ulysses. And his, Confederate had an office in the Grant building because they poisoned me and tracked me in the mouth so that the Jeffing Corporation, Obama, would have the satisfaction of seeing me such that no one would kiss me. And of course, Ulysses Grant died of cancer of the mouth. So it was somebody telling scare stories about the sort of condition that developed. My dentist said it's not inevitable, but they're threatening to murder me if I get involved with anybody, or not, apparently, even. Why should they make it an if-then consideration of somebody they've hunted in snuff film format? The police evidently think it's military. I'll explain to you what I think of that idea. It is, but a federal judge is believed possibly to have facilitated this movement towards a ceasefire by announcing that Joe Biden is contributing to a genocide. Why didn't they announce genocidal findings when the script emerged? It's because, pompous people running numbers operations in Pittsburgh, like Vince Irini and Fetterman, the African scholars movement of Pitt, said that despite the evidence that I had been deafened by this gang and that I was tortured, that it was somehow worth money or something. So that I had to be lied to and about and set up in some other way. And Seattle extended this short-circuiting of the discovery of something that could have warned us about Netanyahu in the latest 1983 or 1984. And of course, they have this claim that there's a plausible that I could have warned in 1974. Warned who? Warned Joe Biden, warned Robert F. Kennedy, the people who have supported. Oh, Daddy, a Jewish girl is sending me innuendos of genocide. She has to be stopped. Go tell Netanyahu, he'll stop her. And then it turns out that Lenin pulled a Houdini. That the whole thing they say was about Lenin. A numbers operation in the storyline. So what they have is a smackdown psychology. You're supposed to prove yourself. It's not enough to prove yourself to be tortured and deafened, to be up against a car theft gang and a psychiatrist from Attica State Prison, from deranged, hallucinating rock stars. It's not enough to prove yourself by coming through an evil hour. You can see what I would have done. I was in Pitt News. They could have come and told me what had happened. Patricia Fripp was on 60 Minutes. We could have warned. We could have prevented what happened in Gaza. They said that they were siding with Africa. Well, come on, be realistic. I saw, for example, tonight a very interesting video which raised the issue of Africa feeling that it's aloof from Yemen and the crisis in the Ukraine, and that they need to rethink to see themselves as leaders in a more interconnected system. And starvation is worse in Gaza. Pitt would have sided with the Uganda judge who sided with Israel because she's a black woman. They've said this over and over again. They'd side with the Idi Amin. That the only thing that is necessary is that the person is black. And the fact that I was not black, well, the point is that I was open to discussion. They didn't want to teach me sign language. To teach me sign language, they said, would have interfered with their plans for me. Things come out in conversations that are useful to everybody. I just wanted to be a participant in the school. And they made it their business to abuse me. They have a joke called Patience, Jackass, Patience, where you say, the punchline is on the person who says, when's this going to, and it's like a dialing for dollars. They had this guy, I'll see if I can find him in the web. He ran this scam operation for dialing for dollars. I forget his name. But he set up the score to be 666. And it was too conspicuous. They knew what it was he was doing and bust them. But they're not going to bust John Schulman for any of this. They're not going to bust Robert Fripp and King Crimson for any of this. It's just this endless waiting game of burning out the energy circuits. I can't get my computer to respond. It's too old. But you can look it up, dialing for dollars 666 scam in Pittsburgh, or bowling for dollars or something. But these were the people who made the film Night of the Living Dead. And when you look at Joe Biden, he's like one of them. It's like Joe Biden would be a zombie from Dachau, I mean, they have the taste not to make movies about zombies from Dachau, but Joe Biden has no taste. He's like the zombie from Dachau. I've got my computer working. I'm going to look up dialing for dollars scam. Maybe I can get the information I wanted. But my point is that it's because of Seattle and Pittsburgh and these foolish administrators and their students It's too late for Gaza. It's too late for me. And in many ways, it's too late for Seattle. The place it's wrecked. It's traumatizing to see what has happened to Chinatown, to the stores, and to the community. There's no coffee shops. It's supposedly a progressive environment for students. There's no coffee shops where a person can sit. You know, if you don't have real savvy the way I do from living there for years and years and years, in quiet, helpless, hopeless destitution, you can't find a toilet as a visitor, as a guest. And it's all because of this swindle of Fetterman and Vince Irene back in Pittsburgh. The letters made crystal clear that they had deafened me and tortured me and used a nerve agent on me. And yet, the only thing that Seattle could think of doing was poisoning me in the mouth. And they say, prove yourself worthy or something. Well, you have to look at the scam itself. They needled and lampooned Martin Luther King into going where they wanted him to go when they shot him. Prove yourself, and they shot him, right? And that was how the sanitation workers got their union, was that he complied with this sort of thing. And they've never changed their mentality, even though they know that that's the mechanism that's being used. And Gaza isn't even my issue. I mean, it is my issue. It is my issue, but it's a subsequent development from the Zionism of the Jeffin Corporation, who sold this script for a woman who was their agent, claiming that a deaf person they tortured was more guilty than she was, to buy time for Netanyahu in serial genocide and his zombie from Dachau, Biden, to secure leadership. And the scandal happened in 1980, no less. Nick Perry was his name. So Vince Irene, Fetterman, and Nick Perry all have this thing going with the Seattle administrators.